Hello, Jackie. I am so pleased that you've joined us here today for the very first virtual awards ceremony honoring these very incredible, very special certified handwriting specialist teachers. Jackie, today is a very special day because we've waited for this for a long time. We've all been preparing for this and filling in our forms and writing down our ideas of what we're going to say on our pages. And I want to know from you who you are, first of all, and where you are. So come on, give us the goss, tell us.
Okay, so my name is Jacqueline Downes. I live on the outskirts of Edinburgh here in Scotland. I've currently just completed my Mindfulness Diploma and now working towards my Meditation Teaching Diploma. So yeah, so 2020 saw me take a new direction in what I wanted to actually do. My background has always been administrative skills and just working in offices and stuff like that. But 2020 saw me take different challenges ahead and try and implement them into what I want to achieve from 2020 onwards.
Jackie, I met you. You were in one of my. We had a mentor, and
Yeah.
we were in a group. And I met you when we did the climate reality training last August.
Yeah.
And that was a huge learning curve for all of us because we're in this crazy group and we were having to contend with all of this information. And because today is all about handwriting and the importance of handwriting, I wanted to ask you, now this is like, did you find when you were doing that training, did you have to write copious amounts of notes? Because I was writing reams, just trying to keep up with everybody in our group. And I still refer back to those notes. I wanted to ask you, how important is handwriting to you in your learning path, in your trajectory, in everything that you've been doing in your life? Is it important?
Writing is totally important. I mean, I totally put it in par with literacy as well, because to me, they both work hand in hand together. For me, with having anxieties and stuff like that, I find that I have to write things down now. So if I let everything just go in my head, everything just gets jumbled up. So if I write things down, I can feel more at calm, I can feel more at ease, I can feel less anxious. Mm-hmm. So for me, writing is definitely important. The main thing I write is that it helps me express my own moods. So if I'm feeling angry, I can get down what I'm feeling angry about, scrunch it up on a piece of paper and just chuck it away. And then and that's me kind of just let it go and stuff like that. So yeah, it's like for me, doing the mindfulness has taught me about just letting go. And the process of doing that, then you've chucked away something that may be bothering you, but it's not bothering you anymore. So it's like kind of takes away the stress and the anxiety both in one go. For me,
never ever, it's not until I've been doing today's talks, I always considered handwriting to be something that was what I was going to be using for learning. And it's funny because everybody's saying no, but it has a holistic, you're saying mindfulness. I know that May Tang, she said, it's all about our emotions, what we think about, how we feel. It's spiritual. And I'm thinking, okay, now you guys are like now going into the woo-woo space here. But then you're saying to me, actually, if I'm feeling angry, I want to write it down when I'm feeling and scrunch it up and then burn it or throw it away.
And it totally helps you with your mind. Like if you've got a mind map going as well, then you can kind of write down and see visually what that mind map's going to be, rather than have it all going on in your head and you're like, oh, where'd I put that bit, where'd I put this bit? And it's all there. It's all there.
That is exactly what Keith said. One of our previous speakers said that he was doing a radio show and for some reason he got cut off. And he said if he didn't have the mind map pre-created in there, he wouldn't have been able to just pick up
Yeah.
as they came back to him. He said, if I hadn't had that mind map there, he said, if I'd had, loads of paper.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, what was your earliest memory of handwriting, of learning to write? Was it a pleasant experience for you, or was it a psychologically disturbing experience?
I don't know. My first early memory of writing would probably be at school. But then my experience of school was both good and bad, because I went to regular school to start with, but then I ended up going to a school for children with disabilities. And yeah, the teaching there was more different, because there, normal traditional school, yeah, you sit down in classrooms, you write pen to paper and stuff like that, but people with varying disabilities are not often taught how to write, or it's more about doing the social needs and what they can achieve outside of that and how they're going to go about that. So for me, it was different, and I kind of drew back from writing, and I think that's where I kind of got lazy in writing as well, that I didn't want to write so much. I didn't want to write a lot down and things.
Do you think that the school should have maybe focused on you don't have to give us the name of the school.
Yeah.
It's
okay, the school's been knocked down now, it's no longer there.
Yeah, well, I'm in a way, I'm glad. It's so funny. We've got one of our very first, here in the United Kingdom, one of our very first SEN schools in England was a school in Northamptonshire. And I'll never forget, the literacy lead brought me in. I'm not going to name any names. I mean, she's phenomenal anyway. You can go online and watch her delivering talks on it. And she said to me, I want to know how to assess handwriting. And I said, but these children have got such extreme, some, you're going from one extreme to the other. Some have serious disabilities. Some are more they're on the autistic spectrum. Some have got, dyspraxia, we've got dyslexia, but extremes, But she said, no, I want to know how to do these assessments. And I said, okay, all right, it's up to you. We'll give it a go. Do you know, it's been one of the most enlightening experiences of my entire life, because to see what handwriting does when you, because she said, I want to ensure that no matter what these children's disabilities are, or should we call them special abilities,
Yeah,
I want them all to write.
yeah.
And she set about a program. I mean, she's now, I think she's probably the head teacher, or she's the deputy head teacher now. She just went, and it was such an amazing learning curve, because to see how we were going from classroom to classroom, assessing, and then saying, right, we need to put an intervention in here.
Yeah.
This group, ADHD children, are going to be doing that. And handwriting, doesn't matter whether you are in a special needs school, or you in a mainstream school, or in an independent private school, or high academic attainments, handwriting is, like you've said, you have to have it to be able to express who you are, to express, get those feelings out. My business partner, Denise Meisner, is an autism specialist, Jackie. And I met her through handwriting, because she said to me, she contacted me online and said, my son Adam, he needs to learn to write. He's like, and I said, yeah, but he's 16, 15. I can't help you. And she said, you are going to send me. I said, okay, all right. And I sent her a whole lot of exercises and a method. Well, Adam is now almost 22, and Adam writes copious notes all day, every day. It's an outlet. It's an outlet.
Totally.
When you left school, when you left that environment, how did you get into writing? What was it that started this love for you of being able to express through writing?
Well, the change, when I left school, I'd gone from, actually funny, because I went from mainstream school to start with, to school with disabilities, to then being chucked back out into mainstream school again, because it was deemed at the time when the education system was changing that I was deemed not disabled enough for the school. So got put back into mainstream school again in the middle of third year.
Okay.
And back then, yeah, I couldn't choose the subjects I wanted to take. I was kind of just put into the non-certificate classes and stuff like that. But it was a learning curve. And then I had to learn just instantly to write again and to try and write and to try and catch up, because obviously within the different schools, they've got different standards and different things and stuff like that. So yeah, it was totally a shock, because I know I'd have to do so much writing, and being only able to write one-handed because of my left hand paralysis, it was really, really tiring, and really, I struggled at bits. Not being able to write so fast, not being able to write as quickly as everybody else and stuff like that. But I came up with my own shorthand, and we'd eventually catch up at home.
Wow. Jackie, the education system, they didn't cater for what your needs were.
They didn't, not at the time. I mean, now I think it's totally different, where you've got the special advisors at colleges and universities. They will help people with disabilities or that need help or assistance. But back then, when I was a student, it just wasn't around. It was not there.
And yet you still excelled in your field. After all that, you stuck at learning to write. You stuck at it, and you knew that was something that is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, it's a way that I've been able to express how you feel and how to. Like growing up, I was not the most confident person speaking. I was very shy. I was very introverted. But being able to write, you could then put on paper to pen what your thoughts were, how you were feeling, how you were uncomfortable, or how you didn't want to do something. You could just put on paper and say, "Here, read this."
So were you using, when you left school, where did you go from there? Did you go to college? Did you go to what was the strategy?
Yeah, I went to college, and I was successful at college, but I wanted to take it higher the following year. But sadly, I had issues that weren't addressed properly at the correct time, because I lost my parents at an early age, and I had never addressed those issues. So when I was at college work was getting on top of me, and my personal life was getting on top of me as well. And when both of those collide, it's never the best thing. But at the time, I didn't know how to communicate or express how I was feeling. So I would just withdraw and not speak, not even write stuff down. I would just totally carry on, or try to carry on, without expressing my own emotions or expressing my own feelings or needs. Wow. So yeah, I just kind of shut up shop until in my local area, some mental health groups started to appear.
Yeah.
And then I started to go along to their sessions. And then I was able to express myself. They showed you coping strategies, how to move forward. And they've kind of always stuck in the back of my head now. So now I'm like, yeah, you want my feelings? I'll write them down on paper for you. Just be prepared to get pages and pages of stuff. You'll have to diagnose what's relevant, what's not relevant. But yeah, I'll happily write for forever for you now.
That is absolutely. Jackie, I love that you are so honest and openly honest with us. I mean, this is where you're allowing us right into your heart and into your home and into your life and into your experiences. And what I'm amazed by is your sheer will, steel will, your resilience, and how handwriting has played such an important part in your processes and in your development and emotional strength and growing.
Oh, totally. I don't think if I had my handwriting, I would be as confident as I am currently. And now it's taught me to not to be fearful, but to just jump into things that you're maybe unsure about, but to give yourself that opportunity. And you never know where that's going to take you in the future. You never know what that's going to turn into. So yeah, there's nothing really in this world to be frightened of.
There's nothing to be frightened of. No, no. Jackie, I want to ask you, do you feel that it is still important, even in this digital age, to write, to be taught how to write and to write well? Do you feel that?
Yes, totally, because in the digital age, things can break down. We don't always have electricity. We don't always have battery chargers with us. We may forget them. We may leave them at home when we think we've got them and stuff like that. Whereas pen and paper are always available. And even if you've got a napkin or you've got some loo where you are and stuff like that, you've always got pen and paper to write on and to improvise what you want to put down from what you're thinking and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely think that writing is a core skill, especially in this digital age, because you don't know if there's going to be a power cut where all your devices goes completely.
Can you imagine if you were only in that digital, if you only had the digital capabilities, and from what you were saying earlier, trying to get your thoughts down and that emotional release, that
Yeah.
get that off. You wouldn't have been able to do that with digital, with a phone or with an iPad or with a laptop. There's no way. I know it myself. I know that I never refer. All of my notes are handwritten, and I find that they make me far more. They just get the message. There's got to be something psychological and physical. It's got to be like a connection between my brain and my hand. It's those motor skills. It's once I write it, I remember it, I go back, I look at it and I remember it. If I type it in there, it's gone. Or if I put it in my phone, digitally it's gone. It doesn't mean anything to me. But if I've written it down, I remember it, I know exactly. I wonder.
And with digital skills as well, it's like you're spending so much time looking at the screen as well, and it just gives you the headaches and it gives you
anxiety.
Yeah, it's like
I get anxious, so I look at all these texts and messages and WhatsApp, and I just think, oh, leave me alone. I just think, no, stop. It's like there must be like a big wall. Like, no, come on. I had somebody message me on LinkedIn this morning. They said, "Did you see our message last week?" And I said, "No. I have been so busy, I haven't had a chance to look at LinkedIn messages." And they're like, "Yeah, but we messaged you." "No, but we emailed you." "No, but we saw you on WhatsApp." "No." Pick up the phone, speak to me.
Yeah, totally.
To everybody, it's like they don't want to. I don't know. Is it all of us that we somehow stopped communicating in person?
Yeah.
Thank goodness for Zoom. Thank goodness, listen, guys, whoever invented Zoom, and you are awesome, because at least I can see Jackie and I can have a conversation with her and we can communicate. This backing and forwarding with texting and WhatsApping, emailing. Oh, guys, no. My worst is when I get loads and loads of like audio messages. And they like somebody just can't be bothered to even type it, and I'm just thinking, I don't have the time to sit and listen to this. So Jackie, where to from here? What are you going to be doing in this new year with your climate reality training? What is your wish for that?
My wish for that is to eventually write a blog. Currently, just now, I'm still working on my mindfulness and my meditation stuff, but in my free time, I'm checking like what's happening in the climate and trying to work out how to write your own blog posts and just get ideas down on paper as to what I want my blog to be about, what I want to include in that blog, what I want to encourage others to maybe do with it from the blog. And yeah, it's still
So
things going on
formulating your ideas, getting your all because I noticed that we, folks, those of you that are listening or watching that may not have a clue what we're talking about, Jackie and I were part of a group of about 4,300 individuals around the world that signed up for a training, the Climate Reality Leadership Training last year in August. And it's pretty intense. I must say, I've
very intense.
I just thought, I honestly thought, what have I done? This is really, I don't have time for this. But we stuck at it. And I think that the reason we stuck at it, Jackie, is because we had a fantastic mentor. We had a mentor called Alistair, who was absolutely incredible. And he kept our group together, and we had an accountability team. And I didn't want to let the team down. And that's why I connected with Jackie and Leslie Ann and some of the individuals in the group. And I still contact Alistair regularly. And I found that was the best part about it. I loved meeting that accountability group. I loved having him as a mentor. Yeah. And I learned a lot. I mean, I know quite a bit about climate change and where we're going with it and what we need. So we need literacy, climate literacy, carbon literacy, and we need transition. Transition engineering is going to be a big thing going forward, and we need transformation. And there's no reason why we can't sort it out. I mean, come on, we may be small-brained primates who like shiny things, as Susan Crumdeek says, but we can fix it. There's no, I mean, if we could have the Industrial Revolution, there's no reason why we can't have a major green revolution. And it's all within our grasp, and quite possible. We're going to just keep at it. Jackie, we've got to have another talk. So when you get that blog going and you start writing your notes, I want to be doing an interview with you for the Sustainable Schools Summit, because I think that the pupils would love to learn about doing a blog and a vlog about their climate initiatives in their school. They'd love it.
Totally, Melanie.
We've got to all do it together. Jackie, you've really enlightened me, because we always seem to think that absolutely everybody gets the opportunity to be taught how to write, and not everybody has. And you've been incredibly resilient. You started early in a mainstream school. You've gone over into an SEN school. Then you've gone back into the mainstream system. From what you've said, you've suffered huge loss, losing both of your parents very early. And yet you are still here, as resilient and confident as ever. And you're telling me that it's writing, it's handwriting that has helped you get to this point. And you've just made my heart so happy. It's amazing. It's amazing. And you would not give up. Folks, Jackie has been messaging me going, right, I'm going to do a talk. I'm going, yeah, but all of the limitations, the physical limitations for you. No, I'm going to send you my biography. How? I'm going to figure it out. Have you filled in the form? No, I'm disabled. What are you going to do? I'm going to record it. Okay, and then what? I'm going to transcribe it. I'm going to do this. Okay. Have you written me notes? Yes, I've written notes. and I'm just thinking, I said yesterday to Carlo, who's my right hand, he's our virtual assistant, and he helps Denise. And I said, Carlo, I don't know. I said, if Jackie ever gets onto Zoom, it's going to be a miracle. And here you are.
Yeah. It takes a while, but eventually you get there. Jackie,
you have absolutely made our day. And
Carlo was very good as well, because it was from he sent me an email with the questions that you may be asking them, like yes. Sit down and think about what your answers are going to be and then write it down. So yeah, thanks Carlos as well.
I said to him, I said, I don't have time. You're going to, and he said, what can I do to help you? I said, look, Jackie, you need to get on to Jackie, send her an email, give her a nudge and say to her, Jackie, these are the questions Mel's going to ask you. Have it all in there. And it's been, What is your one takeaway? What is the message that you would like to give to all those mums and dads and grannies and granddads out there of young children that have not yet started to learn to write or are learning to write? What's that one take home? What's the powerful message that you would like to leave them with?
I would say persevere with it, like never give up, always keep persevering, because you never know when you're going to need it. And even to prove your identification, stuff like that, you always need to use your handwriting. You always need to have a signature which is identifiably you. Mm-hmm. So yeah, just persevere with it and always keep encouraging, because encouragement helps to persevere the person that might be struggling inside, but they can do with your encouragement to move on forwards.
Keep them going. Don't give up, folks. Handwriting is hard. We forget those of us that are writing already. This is a whole skill. This is something that these children have to start from scratch. You're teaching them, you know, for those of us that had to learn how to ride a bike or drive a car with gears, or learn to cook, learn to bake, learn to sew, it's a skill. So it's something that we don't just, it's not innate. It's not something we have to, it's a step. We have to put the one foot in front of the next foot, and the step by step, and work through a process of building those muscle memory and those fine and gross motor skills, and learning those entry and exit strokes. And for some of us, it's a little bit harder than others. So it's not all about testing, and it's not all about academic attainment. It's about confidence and feeling confident with how you're writing and learning. And it is, don't let anybody tell you that you don't ever need to learn to write, because for your confidence and your self-confidence and your personal learning trajectory, let us tell you from Jackie and I, you've got to be able to write.
Totally.
You've got to be able to write. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for persevering with me, and thank you for not letting it go. You were like a dog with a bone. You were not going to let this one go. And I was like canceling, and you were like, no, 2. And I was like, then you were like, look, 12 o'clock. I said, no, I'm busy. 2 o'clock. And then you still send me a message. You're still on for 2, Mel. And I'm like, yeah. Jackie, you are tenacious. I give you that. You just don't stop. You don't give up. It's like, you are going to put me on that speech. I'm going to be in that group. And I'm like, okay, all right. I give it to you.
It's just, you're just calling me to get in my comfort zone. So yeah, I like that as well. So yeah, it's all good.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you. We're going to have another one. We're going to do another talk on something else. We'll do something on for the sustainable schools. And we'll talk about your blog and how the schools, the children can maybe you can give them some pointers as to some ideas as to what to be doing, and all about what it was like, your training that you went and did with the.
If you can send me information about that.
I will most certainly. Jackie, I'm afraid of you, because if I don't, you will hunt me down and track me down. If that's one of your core skills, I tell you what, you just don't let things go. It's like, you're going to give it to me. You're going to send me that link. When is the booking? Come on, Mel. Right. Okay. I've met my match, folks. I've met my match. Jackie, it's been amazing. And to all of those certified handwriting specialist teachers, you are very, very special. You are the first in the world. And don't ever forget that. You are the leaders in this field. You are going to, many of you, I know, are going to go on and do the master's degree. We're going to be doing a master's degree in the history, science, and psychology of handwriting. And many of you will go on to become the very first doctors of handwriting. We don't only need 2. It's not just, I'm not going to name their names. We cannot be like Gollum and hang on to everything we have and say, my precious. If COVID has taught any of us anything, we need to give some more, share, learn, develop, grow, and then spread that knowledge outwards so that it is global. We are now in a global society. We are global citizens. We are all one. We are all in the same boat. So I want to see those doctors of handwriting going out into all over the world, becoming professors, setting up their very own literacy centers in universities around the world, so that we can ensure that we have a literate society, a confident society. Because if Jackie's taught us anything today, is that we must never, ever, ever negate and discount the power of being able to write. It's powerful. It's powerful. So to all of you today, thank you very, very much. And from me, from Jackie and I,
Right, guys.
over and out. We'll see you all on the other side. Bye, Jackie.